is going on with your YouTube? This is Regular Dave coming at you with another video. This time we ain't doing video games, man. I love tech. Phones are one of the things I love, and we talking about this Galaxy S6 Edge. Is it a gimmick, or do the edges actually matter? I'm gonna talk about it, give you my first impressions. I've had it for a day. I'm gonna tell you some things I like about it, some things I dislike about it, but here it is. This is the black version, which looks blue. I don't get how they can call this black. And it's so reflective that you really can't. You cannot judge this phone by looking at a YouTube video. You got to go to a store, get it in your hands. And I'm not talking about when it's connected to that big plastic device and you can't hold it. You got to hold this device to know what it's about. All right, let's get into it. All right, man, let's get right to it, man. Let's not even cut any corners. Let's talk about these edges and the value of the edge, which people want to know, especially if you're buying this device. And is it worth $100? All right. Well, here's the thing. I'll show you guys the things that the edge does. Most of you guys already know. I'll give you my take on it. Here, the most productive one, I think, is the Friends Edge, or it's just a quick shortcut to your friends to either call them or, text them. It's just a quick shortcut. Now, is that like some productivity that you couldn't get otherwise if you didn't have the edges? No. You could just create a widget. You could do the same thing. You can create a widget, put it on the screen, boom, we'll just pick whoever's here, and you can make a folder that does the exact same thing. I'm trying to show you guys real quick how fast you could pretty much do the exact same thing. Now, look, you made a folder. Now you got the same thing. You got the same thing as the People Edge that quick. So if you didn't have the edges, you could pretty much get the same effect. And that's what I mean by functionality. The edges, to be honest with you, and everybody said it, they don't really have a lot of productivity, a lot of functionality. Let's see, whatever, another one that I'm never going to do. I'm never going to put this phone in its face. Like, that's nothing I'm going to purposely do, is put this phone on its face just so these edges can light up the color of whatever I've set my, and that's another thing with the edge. Sometimes instead of pulling out the Friends Edge, you swipe over to something you don't want to swipe over to. All right, and it'll light up with the color. That's just not something I'm willingly going to do, so that's another wasted edge. Another one that's just, it's cool to look at, I guess, but it doesn't have a lot of functionality. Let me see if I can do it really quick. You turn on the edge, you just swipe your finger alongside of it, and it has this little stream here of different things, and I don't understand the time that I would actually use this. Maybe I'll be wrong in the future, but I don't see a time I'll use this. Another thing the Edge does, well, I even forgot. Let me look. It'll tell you everything the Edge does. You could turn these things on or off. Edge screen. There's a night clock. There's a clock. I put mine to come on between 2 and 7. I didn't happen to wake up to look at it last night, so I don't know if that's something, if I'm ever going to use it. But functionality is about 0% for me for the edges. Now, it sounds like what I'm saying is it's not worth $100. Well, not exactly. This experience that the edges create are just, man, to me, they're just, you gotta have the phone in your hand to understand it. When you're looking at a website, when you're on Twitter, and hold on, when you're on Twitter, I gotta get used to this, and the screen's wrapping around the edges, it's an experience that you just haven't had before. And I'm always looking for a new experience, and it's an experience for the better. It's just, I don't know. I never knew I needed edges on my phone, but apparently I do, because I'm loving the look of the edges. I'm loving the look of scrolling on Instagram and the screen wrapping around the phone. It's just something about it. And you cannot tell on YouTube how good it looks until you actually hold it in your hand. And you've played with it for a while, but it's something about it that I just really, really like. And for me, wow factor is worth $100. Now, if you're one of these people where somebody has to change your life for $100 and give you some kind of functionality and productivity out of your $100, then I say just go with the regular Galaxy S6. Don't get the Edge. But you know what? Somebody who hasn't seen this phone and they seen the S6 and they don't know anything about the Edge, when they see this, they're gonna be like, wow, what is that? Because it's that beautiful. And it just creates, it's something about swiping over that edge that gives you an experience where you're like, okay, this is nice. Something about swiping over that edge. Now, here's one thing that I don't really care for too much. To me, this phone doesn't play well with phone cases. I got a little clear phone case from Spigen. It's only like $2.99 because they sent me like some special a month before the phone came out, and I bought it. And I want it clear so you can show out the beauty of this phone. I mean, even though this can turn into a smudge fest, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it does turn into a smudge fest because it is glass. This phone still has a lot of beauty to it. But the case, you just lose swiping over the side, man. Swiping over the side just feels great. It's like the perfect design for a phone. And with a case, you lose that a slight bit because I'll show you why. All right. So the case has to meet at some point, and it still gives you the edge. Don't get me wrong. You still can swipe over the edges, but you have this case sticking out and it just doesn't feel the same. So this is a minimal case, and this is probably how they're all going to be designed. This part's always probably going to be low to give you the edge, and this part is going to be higher than it normally is on a minimal case. Like I could show you a case where that part is just completely open. But if, like on my Nexus, like the case I have, that part is completely open. So if you have this part completely open on the Galaxy S Edge, then why do you have a case on there? Because it's not protecting anything. But you know what? This is high enough that if I drop it, it will hit that plastic part first, but takes away from the experience. Now, I know some people value protection over the experience. Right now, I'm wrestling with it, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do case-wise. I think sometimes I'll use a case, and then when I feel like I don't need one, I won't use it because I just like the butt naked. Okay, pause. The feel of this phone with no case on. Raw, butt naked, unfiltered. I like it. Feels much better than with the case. And you know what? I'll worry about protection. I can say this phone is extremely premium, but it's kind of, I wouldn't say dainty, but if it's just the, since they went with the double glass, it feels like if you drop this phone, then it's going to explode, which we've seen drop tests. People perform drop tests, and that's not the case, but that's just the way it feels. Another thing is the screen itself is probably the most gorgeous thing I've seen on a phone. I'm just telling you, YouTube does not do this phone justice in any way. Go in the store, man, and really, when it's connected to that thing, you can't really feel the premium value of the phone. But go in the store just to look at the screen. This screen is absolutely gorgeous. Now, it is at a price. Battery life has been so-so for me. You got to tinker with the phone and turn all types of things off to preserve the battery because things start running and searching for GPS and all kinds of stuff. You got to turn all that stuff off or your battery will die pretty quickly. Now, a lot of people don't like TouchWiz. That's a detractor from the phone, but I never really understood that because you got all types of launchers. Like I downloaded the Google Now launcher. You got the Google Now launcher and boom, if you set that up, the phone doesn't look like TouchWiz anymore. I just, you know what? I had a Nexus 6, so Google Now Launcher is pretty much standard for me, but I'm just trying out TouchWiz to check it out. But yeah, I do agree. TouchWiz is still fairly ugly. The icons, I just don't like them. Like this gallery icon, I got this Logitech C920. It's probably not great for doing a phone review, but I got this, like the gallery icon has been the same for like the last 3-4 years, and it's ugly. They need to refine it, make it look a little bit more sophisticated. You have these themes to change things. They just don't happen to have a theme that I'm interested in yet. Hopefully that store fills up with themes, but you know what? They do have themes. I don't want my phone looking like a spaceship. I don't want it looking like, strawberry shortcake or Hello Kitty. The themes right now seem to be over the top. I would prefer like something minimal, something just a little bit more sophisticated, something like this purple theme, but that's the color. Like you can't change that. I do like the purple theme. The way the icons look. So this store should be filling up. And once it fills up, I know they're going to have something for me. But as you can see, these themes are a little bit ridiculous and a little bit over the top. They'll work for some people, not quite for me. But that's the beautiful beauty in Android is you can change this phone to look like whatever you want it to look like. All right, man, this is just the first impressions. I doubt I'll do a review, but if I run across some things that people aren't really talking about, that's what I'll talk about because you have a million ways to get and a million things said about this phone. But all in all, man, first impressions, I had it 24 hours and I've been using it without a case. This is probably the best phone experience I've ever had. It's just something about the build of this phone and the way that screen wraps over the edge, which is like, wow. Fingerprint sensor works like 100,000 times better than the one they had where you had to swipe. All right, I can go on and on days and days about this phone, but I'll end it here. Get active in the comment. Let me know what you think about the Galaxy S6 Edge, and I'll get at you guys another time. Peace.